Hi there, I'm Margie Holmes, clinical psychologist, author, and educator. For the next 2 weeks, I'll answer questions on how to say no. Today, I'll focus on saying no in non-sexual situations. For example, favors, loans, or requests from friends and parents, etc. We received an interesting mix of questions, so let's get right to it, shall we? From T.E. and Shem Annie Ray, who have the same dilemma, which is saying no to relatives who borrow money but don't pay them back. TE asks, how can I turn them down without hurting their feelings when I consult my husband about his relatives who ask to borrow money? He says, bahala ka na sa dumiskarte. Now, boy, isn't that pissy-offy for you, TE? I mean, it's pissy-offy for you not only about the relatives who don't pay you, but also your husband who doesn't want to seem like the bad guy, and so he's leaving you to be the bad guy. So my suggestion in most of these cases is always tell as much of the truth as you can. Okay? So, if his relatives ask, oh, pwede bang humiram ng 100 lang, no? Alam mo, gusto ko talaga kaya lang, sorry wala na akong pera. You don't have to add, kung ibang tao na nagbabayad sa akin, marami akong perang magpahiram. Pero ikaw kasi, nasunog na ako. You don't have to add that. All you say is that you don't have money to lend them, which is true anyway. Try to say it as gently as you can, but if they insist, then stand your ground. Now, just in case they get angry and make sumbong to your husband and he then goes to you and chastises you for it, then terrific, because you tell him, kung I'm so bad at doing it, ikaw na lang next time. Hindi ba? You can't lose. Okay? FA asks, how do I say no to someone who asks me to keep her company, then leaves me when a new companion arrives? Because that happened before, right? So what you do the next time she asks you to accompany her, you say, and I quote, "Are you bloody kidding me? After the way you behaved last time? No way, Jose." I mean, and I think it will be easy for you to do this because, she acted like a biatch, right? So do it if you can. And I hope you can. Okay, number 3. Memo Kens asks, when do you stop saying no to finding out why some friends unfriended you? He continues, I have a group of friends who silently and without any other communication decided to end our friendship. We used to be very close college friends, but I suspect that they felt bad when I decided to go into business without them. Suddenly, they stopped talking to me and avoided me. I didn't know anything about what was happening. I have tried asking them directly and asking other people indirectly, but I still have no answer. So, I've decided to also unfriend them. And yet, it has not stopped me from feeling bitter about them or periodically stressing over this incident. When do you stop saying no to finding out why some friends unfriended you? When do you stop trying to save a relationship that you so once valued? When do you stop, Memo Kens? I would say in your situation, you stop right now. You have tried not once, but so many times to try to find out what was going on. And I'm sure the reason you wanted to find out what was going on is because you wanted to do something about it, But it hasn't seemed that important to them, So how can you keep on asking someone who doesn't want to who doesn't want to seem to give you the answer? Friendship, which is what this is all about, is about two equals. It's about equals, no? Friendship, the very nature of friendship is that it is not that one is above the other. One is not a benefactor who decides to make you a friend or decides to answer your questions, with the other a supplicant, which is the way things are turning out for you now. You are turning out to be a supplicant, practically begging them to make friends with you again or explain what happened. If people treat you that badly, I don't think they're worth being your friends. I know it hurts. I know it hurts to think that people you've known for so long, whom you have loved, now seem to not love you the same way. But, those are the breaks. And it sounds like you have a suspicion that one of the reasons that they are feeling this way is because of this business that they had wanted to be involved with you, that you chose to not involve yourself with them. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, so I mean, what they're doing is punishing you because you did what you felt was right. And a friend doesn't do that. A friend doesn't punish you and punish you so completely and so irreversibly because you just did something that they didn't agree with. Thirdly, there seems to be a touch of the bully in all of this. You see, mag-isa ka lang eh. And yet they are all together making decisions about things that you know nothing about. So I would say, I think the best thing to do is for you to not bother anymore. At least not try to find out things. As we say, you cannot help how you feel. And I can understand feeling so betrayed, so upset, and therefore getting so stressed by what is happening. But even though you cannot help how you feel, you can help what you do about it. And in this case, don't bother trying to find out anything else about them. I mean, that's my suggestion, okay? Number 4, si Abba asks, how do you say no to your parents who are control freaks? It feels like they want full control of my life. How do you say no to parents? The short answer is, with great difficulty. The fact is, they're your parents, and if not anything else, you have had years of practice saying yes to them. And therefore, to say no is parang nababaguhan ka. And of course, kung sila rin nababaguhan rito, they may not accept your thinking for yourself very well. So that's the difficulty. I think one of the things you have to answer is, are you still living with them? Are you still dependent on them financially? Now, I am not saying that money is the only thing that matters here. But fact of the matter is, if you are dependent on them completely and financially, parents who say, it's my house, so my rules, I mean, that's pretty yucky. But in a way, they don't have a right to, but in a way you can understand why they say things that way. And therefore, if you are dependent on them, I feel that this is justification for you to find a way to not be so dependent on them financially. No, we're not talking emotional because these bonds are pretty tight. Even if you don't want them to be, usually these bonds are very hard to break. And of course, you have to ask yourself if you want to break them or not. Now, another situation that is very common in the Philippines is that you are living with your parents, but you are virtually the breadwinner. So this is something else you have to deal with, right? In which case, you are not financially dependent on them, and therefore you have more leeway. Right? And anyway, but going back to the fact that your parents are such control freaks, this usually implies that they want you to follow their, in quotes, advice with things that will matter for the rest of your life. So keep that in mind, right? Your decision will probably affect the rest of your life. In the past, I heard so many kids who said that their parents wanted them to be priests or nuns. Well, maybe happily for this sort of kids, priests have had such a bad rap lately, and if I may add, a lot of them deserve it. So it seems like, or I never get any questions saying, what will I do? My mom wants me to be a priest. The questions I still get, however, is what do I do? My mom wants me to be a doctor and I want to be an artist. Or what do I do? My mom wants me to be an artist and I want to be a doctor. Things like training you will get for a job that you want for the rest of your life, or who you will marry, or who will be the mother or father of your kids. I mean, these things are so important. And of course, because these are probably the things your parents want to exert the most pressure on you so that you will follow them. But just remember that it's a cliche, but it's true. It's your life. You're the one who's going to live it. When you're 58 years old and you turn and see the person lying next to you who is your spouse, but who you didn't want to marry 35 years ago and you still don't want to marry now, it's you that's gonna bear the brunt of all these decisions. So you might as well make the decisions that you want to make. You might as well make decisions that will help you live the life that you want. Okay? Now, to end on a happy note, let me share with you Lisa Magtoto's letter. She and her friends have a situation that seems similar to many people because when I have asked about it, I see knowing smiles from a lot of people. So let me know, won't you? Okay. This is her letter. She writes, "How do you tell someone no, you cannot come with us when we hang out? The person we're trying to avoid has already skipped asking the question, 'Can I go with you?' And he just presumes that he can be with us. He imposes his presence on the group. I am referring to this obnoxious person who always tags along when we go out after a meeting. He often does not buy his own food, but benefits from shared food. That would have been okay if his ways were not so irritating. He's so noisy and he's so pa-intellectual. No? I don't know why we can't tell the person to go away. Instead, what we do is we resort to texting each other where to hang out after the meeting, then dispersing only to regroup again, just to lose that person. Just to lose that person, a group even had to take a cab to go around the block. Imagine what the cab driver said. And then go back to where they were before. One even suggested that we can tell him that the whole organization has disbanded. Okay? So how do you handle a situation like this? Apparently, Lisa and all your friends, mahirap talaga. Especially if you don't want to be bad guys, it seems like you have good hearts and you have tried to tell this person in so many words that you don't really want him around. But hindi siya nakikinig, no? Nagpaparinig na kayo, hindi siya nakikinig, etc. So, I think what you have to think about is to see if this is a bridge you are willing to burn completely or this is a bridge that you kinda agree is kinda wobbly but you just want to stay. I am hoping that this is a bridge you really want to break completely because if it's a bridge that you want to keep even though it wobbles, it implies na may gamitan rito and you don't seem like that kind of person. I mean, I know you're not. So I would say, tanggapin nyo na lang. Alam mo, this guy is not our type. So if there's any way we can say, for example, you can say, saan kayo pupunta? Or sama ko. You can turn around and say, alam mo, kasi tutulungan namin isang kaibigan namin at saka gusto lang niya yung magkakilala. And since she doesn't know you, I hope you don't mind if you come with us. Okay? If you've done this for 3 or 4 times and he still doesn't get the hint, well then, maybe it's better to be a little more direct with him. Okay? So, I hope all these things we've shared with you, of course, will not answer all your questions about how to say no. And by the way, I want to thank all of you for all the times you have answered and tweeted, emailed, and Facebook messaged us and me with the questions we want you to ask us for the show. Okay? Anyway, going back, I just wanted to say that I think the most important thing to remember when you say no is that you have a right to. Okay? It is your life, it is your time, it is your energy. So you have a right to say no to situations and to people whom you do not want to spend your life, being it the rest of your life or just an itty-bitty part of it, whom you do not want to waste your energies on or with. No, just remember that, right? Sometimes people will try and make you feel guilty, and that is why I say the key is self-respect. Is respeto lang. And if you see that these people are warang respeto sa'yo kasi they always ask you to do things that you don't want to do, well then say, in your heart, I would suggest, kung ayaw niyo akong respetuhin, ire-respeto ko na lang ang sarili ko. Kaya, I don't want to do what you're asking me to do. Okay? Next week, I'll answer your questions about saying no in sexual situations, and we'll also be having a future episode on oral sex. So please send me your questions on Facebook, tweet using the hashtag AskMargie, or send an email to askmargie@rappler.com. Be bold. Send us a link, a video link. That would be wonderful. Okay, see you next week.